Thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I just got off the phone with Washington, D.C., the office of Congressman Bill Arakis over there in Washington, D.C. Got off the phone with one of his staffers, the staffer who is, I guess, in charge of handling the Veterans Affairs legislation and all that good stuff. So, person who is involved with the Richard Starr Act and knows what's going on over there with regard to that. Now, for those that don't know, the Major Richard Starr Act was reintroduced with a co-sponsor. So it's Bill Arakis and Ruiz are the two that introduced the Major Richard Starr Act. And it's, on the headline, it was the Starr Act with overwhelming bipartisan support in the House and the Senate. Now that's great, and like I said, I just got off the phone with them, and I wanted to give you an update on what they said, kind of some of the questions that I had, and go from there. So please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. The two asks: hit that thumbs up and let the video run. Those two things help to put this into the hands of more of us, which can actually affect change. Yeah, maybe we can get this darn thing to pass. So with that, thank you so much. If you want to support the channel in other ways, consider being a member. It really does help the channel, and you can do so by going to the home page. You will see highlighted members, and you will see a spot where you can join. You can join and become a member. It helps me to find you quicker in the comments, and it really does support the channel. Thank you to all you members. All right, so jumping into it, the Major Richard Starr Act, I'm going to tell you the conversation that I had, and then what I'm going to do is, after the conversation piece, I'm going to dive into their original press release back in March of 2023 regarding the Starr Act. So the information, I made a couple notes here. Let me pull it up. All right, so basically my question to the staffer there in DC was, look, I understand that you guys introduced the Richard Starr Act. Just wanted to kind of see where we're going with it. Is it still gaining momentum? Do we think it's going to push? Where are we at with it? Is it going to have to get reintroduced? What do we think is going to happen with this, and what can we do to help? And his response was several different folds, right? So it's kind of like going through a maze, and you have different avenues in which you can get to the end. So there's more than one way out of this specific maze. So that was kind of his answer, several different answers that could all result in a positive result, which would be passing the Starr Act. So the number one thing is, there is two pieces of legislation, one in the House, one in the Senate, and they have a little bit of different language in them to get to the end result. Like anything, when it comes to passing legislation, especially something that's opening up the piggy bank, they need to make sure that they have, obviously, the funding to do so, and where's it going to come from, blah, blah, blah. And so anytime there's financial aspects to the legislation, in other words, you're not just putting in legislation to change the name of some federal building, right? That doesn't really cost anything. So, but when you're doing something that's not going to cost a lot of money coming out of the federal coffer, what's happening is it has to run through the CBO, right? So the Congressional Budget Office. The Congressional Budget Office works up what they have as a score on that legislation. So, and I don't know what the score is, but the score is not that great. And according to, my source there, basically it is, it's a little bit of some lazy type accounting, which is okay, but it didn't serve us in the way that we needed it to be. For example, if there's some reduced costs on DOD side for something, but increased cost on the VA side, you don't just look at, the VA side is this much more. You have to also take into consideration the reduction somewhere else. So I don't know all of the accounting aspects that were taken into account here, but according to that office, there could have been a better job, right? They could have done a little more with regard to accounting for all of this stuff and the true score of what it would be. So that's number one. The second piece is I asked, is this thing going to have to be reintroduced? So it's still running through this year, so there's no issues at this point. However, that could become an option to reintroduce the bill with whatever sort of revisions that may be needed. Another option is when the NDAA rolls around again, they could look to potentially get it added into something bigger like the NDAA, and just have that be part of that gigantic package, which might be the way to go. Sometimes it's easier to slip in, hey, I'll do this for you if we can get this done over here for this. That would be interesting. So there's several different factors here at this point. They did seem very supportive. Obviously, they were one of the two who reintroduced this. So they are very interested in trying to get it over the finish line and doing whatever needs to happen to make it happen. So with that, now what I'm going to do, for those that aren't fully aware, I'm going to just read through the press release here for you, share this information with you as either a reminder of what it's all about, or if you don't know, now you know. So let's jump into it here. All right. The headline on the original press release is Bilirakis and Ruiz reintroduced the Major Richard Starr Act with overwhelming bipartisan support in the House and Senate. This came out March 1st, 2023. Bipartisan bill would allow over 50,000 combat injured veterans to receive full disability compensation and retired pay. Moving on, Representatives Gus Bilirakis and Raul Ruiz have reintroduced the Major Richard Starr Act. This critical legislation will rectify an injustice and keeps combat disabled veterans from receiving full military benefits. Currently, over 50,000 medically retired veterans are forbidden from receiving their full retirement pay and disability compensation. The Major Richard Starr Act would repeal this unfair offset, allowing these disabled veterans to receive both their retirement pay and their disability compensation. This bill is named in honor of Major Richard A. Starr, a father, husband, and decorated war veteran who, as a result of his combat-related injuries, was medically retired. Major Starr sadly lost his battle with cancer on February 13, 2021. Last Congress, Bilirakis and Ruiz secured 335 co-sponsors of this important legislation. Today, when the bill was introduced, and again, remember that this is back March 1st. Today, when the bill was reintroduced, it already had the support of over 200 original co-sponsors. The Senate companion to the House bill has once again been filed by Senator Tester and several others, and has garnered already 48 bipartisan co-sponsors. So then there's a quotation here. The brave men and women who return from serving our country should be able to receive the benefits promised to them. Military retirement pay and service-connected disability compensation are two completely different benefits. Agreed. One does not diminish the merits of the other, said Bilirakis. I am committed to rectifying this injustice for all veterans, and passage of the Major Richard Starr Act will get us one step closer to our goal of ensuring that veterans receive the benefits they have earned and deserve. While Congressman Bilirakis has filed legislation each year he has been in office to rectify this injustice of concurrent receipt, H.R. 303, for retirees with 20 years or more of service, he has simultaneously pursuing the Richard Starr Act, which will allow more veterans who are just as deserving to receive the benefits to which they are rightfully entitled. I'd like to thank the veteran service organizations that have been tenacious in their outreach to members of Congress throughout the country to request co-sponsorship. Because of their unwavering support, we are able to move this bill one step closer to becoming law, Bilirakis added. After serving and sacrificing for our nation, too many veterans face unnecessary roadblocks in receiving the benefits they need, have earned, and deserve, said Dr. Ruiz. The Major Richard Starr Act would repeal the unjust law that stands in the way of veterans receiving the military retirement pay and service-connected disability compensation that they have rightfully earned. It is with much gratitude that I thank Representatives Bilirakis and Ruiz for introducing the Major Richard Starr Act for the continued commitment to helping American soldiers, veterans, and their families, said Tanya A. Starr, spouse of Major Richard Starr. Before Major Richard Starr lost his long-fought battle with cancer just a few days ago, after 29 years of service, he made me promise him to continue to work with members of Congress to get the bill passed and help the 42,000 families that would desperately benefit from it. It is my honor to carry on this effort in his memory. The Major Richard Starr Act is endorsed by all leading veteran service organizations throughout the country. And that concludes it. Just wanted to bring you up to speed and let you know that I am reaching out and pushing where I can and bringing you the information that you need. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.